Stay true to your word even when getting screwed over. This is a concept that I gotta get better at, I think. You know, I need to get better at staying true to my word in general. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Now, I think the times when I am not true to my word, sometimes it's being late for stuff. Like, I might be late right now for where I'm going. I thought it was supposed to be 8:30. I'm starting to question whether it was 8 that I was supposed to be there. Not sure. But, other things are when you're getting screwed over. If I'm getting screwed over, I really struggle with keeping my word. Because if somebody doesn't keep their word, or, you know, goes back on it, or is, you know, putting you in a box and you know, sacrificing your values and making you, you know, putting you in a really rough spot, I find the stress of that isn't worth it. And especially in filmmaking. I mean, if it's like, I think if, like, I was talking about this with people who, they do like construction and whatnot, and they do work projects, or, you know, they're more salt of the earth kind of things, right? Filmmaking's full of nerds and dweebs and drama geeks, but, you know, we, you know, I find with filmmaking, I'm not sure why, I feel so much stress working, you know, like doing a project, doing a shoot day, because there's the stress of packing all this expensive equipment, showing up with it, hoping none of it breaks and you have to use your insurance, hoping your insurance works if you need to use it, hoping nobody steals anything, hoping nobody screws you over, hoping and having faith that, you know, things are gonna, you know, people are gonna stay true to their word, and you're dealing with artists, so that's, you're not necessarily dealing with people who, well, I don't know, it's not going to be like other industries. Granted, I don't know what other industries are like. You know, there's a lot of things to it that, like, filmmaking's given me white hair in my beard. It can be rough. It's made me physically lose my voice, literally and physically. So when you're getting screwed over, should you just, you know, accept it and be like, okay, you know, I said I would do this thing, let me go do it? That's honorable. Honestly, that's honorable. And that word gets spread around quick. This person's honorable. But what's funny is, you know, I once heard, this is actually something that kind of bugs me, that I read in The Art of the Deal by Trump, because I'm not even sure if this is like a good piece of business advice. I think this doesn't fall in line with the value of forgiveness. Judge, you know, politics aside, just as a business book, he said he goes after people. You should be willing to spend 10 times the resources of what was stolen if somebody steals from you, or, you know, screws you over. If somebody screws you over, or I think steals from you, spend 10 times the resources to get the money back, because you don't want a reputation going around people can steal from you. I don't know if that's good advice. I think that gets you in a lot of trouble, and also just it wears at your soul. I can't imagine myself holding a grudge or wanting to go after someone at all. Like, I mean, granted, you know, I remember things that people do. I tell that story to myself. It becomes part of my story. And it's how I, you know, cope with it. It's how I move forward as a person and how I make sense of life. I'm an overthinker. But if somebody, you know, steals from me, I would do more harm and damage to myself if I were to keep going after them. And I just, you know, I don't think I can do that. But I bring that up because it's like, is there a counter piece of advice to, you know, if you give someone your word, you know, do you stick true to it if they're screwing you over? There's a counter piece of like, well, you should go after them for doing that to you. No, I don't think I don't know if either. Like, I think, yes, it can be honorable to, stay true to your word if somebody's screwing you over, but I mean, it's hard. I'm not going to lie, man. It's like, it's a lot of self-suffering, and maybe that's something I need to get better at. I'll be honest, that's something maybe I just need to practice more. But there's been times where it became very clear to me that I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, it kind of felt like somebody was putting me in an arm bar, and my arm was about to snap. And honestly, the person I am today, because of getting myself out of situations like that and breaking my word when someone didn't deserve my word, if I'm honest, I am in a better place in life, I think, than if I stayed true to it. And, sorry, I'm making sure I got the right turn. I would not be I wouldn't be working on the feature film that I have right now if I'd stayed true to my word. I wouldn't have the best writing project I've ever had in my life. I wouldn't have changed as a person. I'd be a hollow shell of myself. Because, I think this advice of stay true to your word even when you're getting screwed over, I believed that until I started experiencing narcissistic abuse, but never knew what narcissistic abuse was. And I was staying in that situation because I didn't like giving up. I didn't want to be somebody who gave up. But I think there's kind of a vulnerability to this that you have to have as a man to realize, no, there is a point where things get abusive, where people in your life are literally abusing you. And if you stay in that situation, it's going to hollow you out. You're not going to be who you are anymore. You're not going to be the person you want to be. You're going to become subservient to someone. And yes, you want to serve others, but you don't want to be subservient to someone who's ruining your life, who's ruining you as a person. And I think that's a distinction you need to come to, and you'll know it when it happens. Your body will tell you. Your body will tell you before your mind does when somebody's putting you through something that is abusive. You might not be able to articulate it. I didn't know until, a friend of mine on set was like, "Tom, you seem really tired. Are you okay?" And I didn't know how to put it into words what was happening to me. I was being a man. I was trying to, accept that, like, I'm tough as nails. I can go through this. Who cares, dude? I mean, yeah, it's honorable to not, to stay true to your word. And I think I want to stay true to my word as long as I'm putting myself in situations where I'm not being treated or mistreated. But it becomes difficult. That is a difficult road to walk or line to walk. It's a tightrope. And you got to figure out, okay, yeah, there are times when, you say you're going to do something and then you don't. Well, that's what that person's going to say. But really what no one else knows is this person burned you for thousands of dollars or burned you for, it's like, maybe I just have to be willing to forget about that and forgive it. I don't know. I do genuinely think, though, there are situations where if it becomes abuse, if it becomes like somebody's just dramatically screwing you over, and it's like you feel like you're bleeding, it's a matter of how long do you want to bleed for? How long do you want to let someone make you bleed? And I think people have different pain thresholds and suffering thresholds. I think I found mine one day, and it became very clear to me, all right, I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be getting close to that again. and I don't want to get close to it again. Like, it's kind of like you got your arm snapped in martial arts, and you don't want that to happen anymore. So you're going to tap earlier. So I want your thoughts. You know, are you somebody who believes in, you know, keep your word even if you're getting screwed over, or is there a point where you need to tap and let someone know, hey, I said I'd do this, but this is you're going back on your word. You're changing your word, and so you're disobeying the agreement we had. If the person's obeying the agreement, but, you know, still screwing you over, it's really tricky, you know. Like, even if they're obeying the agreement, but they're still screwing you over somehow in a way that wasn't part of the agreement or really, you know, figured out in the agreement, it becomes difficult. I'm not sure. But I'd like your thoughts. You know, do you think you should stick true to your word and be honorable when someone's screwing you over? Or if somebody's, like, really causing you to bleed, is there a point when you should back out and say, hey man, look, I can't do this anymore? Maybe be honest. Sometimes you can't even negotiate with people who are doing that. If somebody's making you bleed, either monetarily or, you know, if they're a friend and it's an emotional wound, they're going after you for something, like it really is. They're you know, I've had that happen. If somebody's doing that, you know, is it right to tap? Is it right to move forward? I don't think it's right to move forward in those situations. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment below. If this video is interesting or insightful in any way, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or video requests, you know, leave a comment or send me an email at AskThomasProffitt@gmail.com on the screen, and I'll try to get back to you. Appreciate you watching. Have a good one. Later. Bye.